Okay then. Okay then. I really do legitimately dislike conservative incorporation, conservative Inc, whatever you want to call it, because yes, it's important to make money and all that other stuff, but it's just as important to create something that you believe in. You know, this practicality mindset is what I have to fight against, even with my own mother, because she's like, "What are you doing up there half the day?" It's like reading and writing, trying to catch up on a whole lot of reviews that I'm behind on. It was that aspect was a whole lot easier when I wasn't writing, because now I have to fight with myself. But yeah, this whole mindset here is why, pretty much, why you have the postmodernism hellscape that is current entertainment, current mainstream entertainment avenues, mind you. Today's comic book reader is a man in his 20s and 30s. Gen X freaks out over Superman being whatever as they/we read comic books as kids. Kids aren't being influenced by bros. Kids aren't reading comics. It's incel man children. Let them read their comics in peace. It's like, but a lot of these comics influenced people when they were kids. When you look at what kids are reading nowadays, they're not reading the stuff that I was reading. They're not reading things like The Hobbit or Narnia. They're not reading even some basic setups like even the Hardy Boys, where it's just genuine bits of adventure, or even the old pulps or Barsoom. There's a fair amount of pulps out there that would be suitable for kids to read, but hardly anybody talks about them, because to this particular mindset of conservative, it doesn't make them practical money or side benefits that are immediately apparent for investment. Kind of like how dealing in stock trading, or like a side income that you can grow your own little side business. It's a rather poisoning mindset, where it's like, yeah, I get it. There is some merit to having practical jobs like electricians, pipe layers, basic construction stuff, because there's a lot of people that need to refill those shoes too. Like the dirty jobs of the Mike Rowe kind of setup. But they, in favor of mostly concentrating on that, they wonder why they get kicked in the teeth with a bunch of milquetoast, like fucking regressive bullshit. Well, you guys didn't exactly invest in that future, did you? The counterbalance to a bunch of heavy-handed message fiction from the regressive side of things. Because, unfortunately, those even on the right can do some pretty heavy-handed, ham-fisted, preachy bullshit that will automatically turn people away just as much. Or it'll be dry and like running through a whole entire sea of molasses to try to get to some endpoint, and once you reach that endpoint, you're like, shit, this was a slog to get through. Because nowadays, I don't have time to try to read through what I consider like the slog, which is pretty much all of the Wheel of Time. Though there's people that absolutely enjoy that stuff, that's fine. Tomato, tomato. I just run in a different wheelhouse, a more pulpy, get to the point kind of wheelhouse. But as far as indies go, Arkhaven's trying its best to re-engage people. Deus Vault, Common America, Alterna, Exilium, a whole lot of indies out there, even ones that I try to cover sporadically, while I'm reading and writing and just carrying on with making up with protocol, where I'm almost at the point where I'm at the halfway point of the series. Again, if you had asked me in 2019 that I would already have that many books out, even a handful of years later, and at this point, it's coming up on a 2-year anniversary since I started doing all this, from the initial first draft to now. I am amazed even at my bit of progress here. It's just like, wow. But kids aren't reading westernized stuff. They're not reading things that were built on, the more traditional pillars of, United States culture. They're reading manga, and they're reading stuff from other countries that seem to understand the American spirit better than we do, i.e., My Hero Academia. It's infuriating because it's like, why is it that some of these other places can understand the American mindset better than we can now? God. Guys, this is why I had to drop Cernovich. I'm just tired of it because he's regurgitating stuff that I have to try to, I'm starting to get through to my mother a little bit, but she still doesn't see the merit of, like, you're just sitting in front of the computer playing games all day. It's like, no. I play games for about maybe an hour and a half sometimes, maybe 2 hours. And I think on, like, one day off, I put in, like a 5-hour session. But honestly, for the most part, if you even look at my Steam thing, the only reason why I have so many hours on certain games is because, it's a new launch. I got stuck in the queue. Oh, boy. And it didn't really matter which kind of server I went on. Most launches for games, especially if they have online components, it takes forever. It takes a good solid month or two for some things to settle out. But, oh, God. Yeah, most times I write up to 4 hours a day. I'll do a 2-hour stint, which I usually do anywhere between like 12 and 3 o'clock. Like I'll have my 2-hour stint right in that time period. And then I go to work, usually for 4. Then when I get back from work, I take about 30 minutes to crank up some iced coffee if I feel like it. And then I'll basically put in like another 2 hours of writing. And sometimes the writing is, further along outlining, for later books. But I usually use one or both segments to get another issue or 3 done for Upload Protocol. I try to stay at least 4+ issues in the queue, so that way I can release stuff not really haphazardly, but sometimes I'm just experimenting, like when I do want to release things. Like some days I'll release 2 issues at a time. Some days I usually try to at least do 3 issues a week, maybe 4. But the whole biggest thing is like the conservative mindset of this stuff isn't practical. It's like, yeah, it doesn't give you an immediate burst of practicality, but later on down the line, like for example, some of the Star Fury designs in Babylon 5 galvanized some people in NASA to think of some other designs, or galvanized some people to work in kind of more technical areas because they wanted to make what they saw in that show a reality. And the same thing happened with older books. It influenced these people to go into jobs that could help shape the future. So yeah, sometimes entertainment isn't frivolous at all.